Hey, what's going on, people? Indie Pride here, and this is Total War Warhammer. And in their never-ending war for Karak Eight Peaks, the Dwarfs of the World's Edge Mountain stand ready to defend their homeland once more against their hated enemies, the Greenskins, in this 2v2 battle. It is a good one. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen. So, the Dawi have an Ironbreaker theme going on. Love seeing that. Toughest shield wall in Warhammer, blocking the entrance to the City of Pillars. Will not be easy to punch through all that Gromril. And shifting over, we've got the Greenskins. They have the Arachnarok Queen, 2 Wyverns, Azhag the Slaughterer, and Skullmuncha, and another Orc Warboss. A bunch of Black Orcs and Nasty Skulkers moving up. And as usual, the Goblobber turning Black Orcs into paste. Always enjoyable watching that Goblobber go to work. I think it's the most fun artillery piece in all of Total War Warhammer. We've got a Gyrocopter squad moving in on the flank, and the Orc Warboss shutting them down early. So he's going to have to be careful. Isolated flyers can get hurt real bad from a bunch of Brimstone Gyrocopters. Over on this side, we've got a big cavalry force mobilizing on the Dwarf's right flank. Only 3 Dwarf warriors in spaghetti line getting ready to absorb this charge. And they do not have charge defense, so they will not negate these charge bonuses, and this is probably going to hurt a lot. Very few things more terrifying in Warhammer than a bunch of gigantic screaming mushrooms on angry boars. Dawi are going to have to hold the line here. If they break, all this cav will be slamming right into the back of the Dwarf army really early on. Big charge coming in. Dwarfs getting sent flying like bowling pins. Really big charge. That's a good start for the Greenskins, but actually, there's a gap in the line here. I think they probably could have just gone around. They didn't even have to hit these Dwarf warriors. Look at that. They could have just gone around and completely ignored this entire flank and then gotten into the artillery in the back. So a bit of a mistake there from the Greenskin players. We've got the Irondrakes with Trollhammer Torpedoes up front, shooting into Azhag, who's getting close and chasing off some of those gyro squads. That's pretty risky, sending up the Wyvern all by himself with those range units nearby. Probably took some decent damage, and he's going to be casting Purple Sun on this front line. And that will do a decent amount of damage. So Purple Sun is one of those vortexes that's really good against high mass units, very heavily armored units, not so good against lighter mass, lower armor units. So if they hit something like an Ironbreaker, can actually do a decent amount of damage. That was not a fantastic vortex. Hopefully we'll get to see that better utilized later on in the battle. Front line of Orc boys getting slammed in the face by a bunch of satchel charges. Explosions going off everywhere, and they are going to immolate. This front line is going to have a really bad time charging into all these Ironbreakers, not just because of the blasting charges, but because they're Ironbreakers who have charge defense against all. They'll be able to hold the line extremely well against all these Orc boys, Nasty Skulkers, and the Black Orcs that are coming in. And stuck in between these two statues, only engaging enemies from the front, that is exactly where Ironbreakers want to be. Dwarf warriors and the Longbeards stuck in combat should be able to hold for a while, backed up by their Runelord. And we've got the Skyhammer Gyrobomber on Overwatch, dropping some bombs here. That could do a lot of damage. Greenskins are going to get very blobbed up on these shield walls. That will be a perfect target for the Skyhammer Gyrobomber to drop some nasty napalm on the Greenskins below. I think being a Gyrobomber pilot must be one of the best frontline jobs in Warhammer. I mean, don't get me wrong, it still sucks, but you can either be in the trenches fighting hell pit abominations with your bare hands, or soaring majestically and dropping bombs from 500 feet. I know which one I'd pick. I mean, you'd still probably get eaten alive by a dragon or something equally nasty at some point because it's Warhammer and it's grimdark, but pilot all the way as opposed to being an Ironbreaker or something that's in the trenches all day. Runelord is not on his Anvil of Doom. That is interesting. Definitely don't see that every day. He's going to be able to buff up the main line relatively well here. And the Greenskin line is starting to falter a bit. That front line of Orc boys and Nasty Skulkers is breaking, but they should come back and rally, and the Arachnarok Queen is stomping through the front line, although she does not want to be fighting Dragonback Slayers and Ironbreakers. That will be a very scary engagement for her. She is so good, though, at shutting down artillery pieces and enemy range units from 150 meters away. That summon ability is so strong. Being able to summon 5 spider hatchlings is a really, really powerful way to turn the battle in your favor. Runelord keeping his Ironbreakers in the fight. Gyrocopters are doing a great job of focusing down that Arachnarok Queen. And there's something getting cast here. Let's put it in slow motion for a second, because Azhag the Slaughterer on Skullmuncha with the Lore of Death about to cast the Purple Sun of Xarius. Only has 4 kills before the cast. Not a Vortex spell you get to see very often, but this might be a perfect storm and exactly what the Greenskins need to turn the fight in their favor. Ironbreakers and Longbeards blobbed up around Shelob as she routes, and there are a lot of giblets right now. That is a lot of Crimson spewing through the air. Ironbreakers popping like Orville Redenbacher. Look at that. They are getting destroyed by this Vortex as it carries through the already damaged Ironbreakers and Longbeards. Oh my god. Oh my god, this looks so glorious. Look at them. They're just getting sent up into the air, and they're going to start popping here. I think they were already damaged. And as the purple sun carries through, they're just popping. They're all popping. Oh my god. This has killed so many of them so far. I cannot wait to see Azhag's kill count after this Vortex. Jesus Christ. This is actually murdering this blob, and this is how you want to use Vortexes. Purple Sun is not the best Vortex in the game. It's usually trash, but in a situation like that, where the Ironbreakers are already really blobbed up, and they're high mass, and they're stuck around a single entity unit like the Arachnarok Queen, like it's still going! What the hell? How many did that kill? We need to find Azhag real quick. This is, yeah, that's the Orc Warboss. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Okay, so Azhag, we're going to click on him. 204 kills now. He got exactly 200 kills on elite tier dwarf infantry with a single purple Son of Xerius. Talk about value. My lord, that was glorious. One of the best Vortexes I've seen in multiplayer on Total War Warhammer, excluding Wind of Death, of course. That was unbelievable, and that's big. They really needed that because their melee line is faltering against all these high-tier armored units for the dwarfs. Arachnarok Queen, if she comes back, that's going to be very important. They really need her to get back into the fight, but the Black Orcs are still going strong against these Ironbreakers. We still got a couple of Boar Boys in the back who made it through finally, although they had way more trouble with those Dwarf Warriors than they should have. Cav, I don't think, was particularly microed well out on that flank. But the Wyverns are also going to make a big impact here, both causing terror, and together the Orc Warboss and Azhag the Slaughterer can make a big impact on this game. They might want to go for the Runelord first. If they can get him off the field, get rid of those Rune of Oath and Steels, all those armor buffs and the damage negation, and certainly the Rune of Wrath and Ruin, which will do a number on those Black Orcs in the late game as we move closer to the end of the game here. That's going to be very important to kill the Runelord. So I would try to double team him if at all possible. Nurgling's Ironbreakers coming in, getting pulped and pasted by those Doom Diver Catapults as they fire in. And the Wyverns are doing work, but I think Azhag is going to start to waver here. He needs to get out of this combat. He does not want to be stuck in melee with Dragonback Slayers and Ironbreakers. Soulblight getting popped on this big AoE, but even combined with the terror that the Wyvern's causing and the Arachnarok Queen with the rear charge, is that going to be enough to drop their leadership? Their leadership is dropping right now. Could they route all these units in the center? That'd be really big for the Greenskins. But Azhag is pulling out. He does not have very much HP left. And he's going to kind of overlook the battlefield right here. If I was him, I'd be going into maybe some Irondrakes in the back, the Trollhammer Torpedoes, or some of the squishier targets. But the Cav is wavering. Dwarfs are holding the line very well. And as the Greenskins cycle back into combat, we're going to get some more bombing runs from the Skyhammer. Oh man, that is doing a lot of damage. Don't get to see the Skyhammer very much either, but it's made a big impact on the game so far. I think it's over 100 kills already. And the Orc Warboss, oh man, the Orc Warboss is really low now. Alright, Greenskins really need to get that Runelord off the field. The later this game goes, this Runelord is going to make an even bigger impact. The damage reduction, damage negation, and the armor buffs. Especially for Ironbreakers, keeping them in the fight. They're already so incredibly tanky. When you're giving them even more damage negation, that's just insane. The Wyverns could double team him. The problem is the Orc Warboss has almost no HP. Black Orcs are swarming in. The Gyrocopter squad is actually still alive as well. They could be a serious problem in the late game here. Nurgling's Ironbreakers holding the line very well against all these Black Orcs. Do the Greenskins have it in them? Can they do something to turn this melee fight in their favor? A rear charge from Skullmuncha and a good Soulblight could probably send that whole group routing. Oh, nice charge. Yeah, isolating these Ironbreakers out of the back. Nice. Oh, God. That looks a little bit goofy, but that's an awesome animation. Longbeard just getting thrown to the side, tossed like a ragdoll. And the Dwarfs have played this very well so far. They've kept relatively compact, kept their important units alive. Skyhammer Gyrobomber made a big impact on the game. I believe, yeah, the Trollhammer Torpedoes are actually still alive somehow as well. But the Greenskin line is breaking. Morganlings and Ironbreakers and all of these 120 armor units for the Dwarfs. Just kicking ass and taking names, holding the line so well. And the balance bar definitely shifting in the Dwarfs' favor. But the Greenskins could bring us back if their troops rally. Black Orcs still in combat, still cutting through these Ironbreakers. But even with their high attack and their armor piercing, cutting through them is so difficult. But just an iconic Warhammer shot right there. The elite Greenskin infantry versus the elite Dwarf infantry, both incredibly heavily armored. Black Orcs like 2 times the size of a Dwarf Ironbreaker. That is so cool looking. A lot of the Greenskin cavalry is routing out the back now. Things are starting to look grim. They need something crazy to turn this back in their favor. Do they have it in them? Again, I think that Soul Blight and the terror-causing Skullmuncha, a Wyvern charge, could be really good, but they need to consolidate their forces, and that's what they're doing now. Pulling the Black Orcs out of combat, pulling their big boss out of combat, trying to get everything back together again. But I don't know if the Dwarfs are going to let them do that. They do have the Gyrocopters who could close into melee, prevent those Black Orcs from running, and I think that the Skyhammer is going to do just that. Big boss coming in to charge in from the flank. Ooh, nice charge into the flank of the Dwarfs. And here comes Skullmuncha, killing these miners. Those miners will go down super fast. And yep, here comes the Skyhammer. Oh, actually, that's the Orc Warboss on a Wyvern. That's not Azhag. But blasting charges coming in now. They're going to start charring the monster's side. Warboss will be compelled to pull out of combat for now. And here comes the rest of the Dwarf army, surging forward behind their Runelord to deal with the remnants of these Black Orcs and the Orc Warboss himself. Skyhammer in the vanguard of the Dwarf army right now, tying everything down, chopping Greenskins into itty-bitty pieces with the blades up top. But can it survive? A Wyvern landing on its head, landing on the cockpit. I don't know about that one. Warboss is actually going to go straight for the Runelord. This is something they should have been doing 5 minutes ago together with both Wyverns. You cannot allow Runelords to survive into the late game. They are too strong. Their buffs are too impactful. And the Rune of Wrath and Ruin is so strong once melee units have taken a lot of HP damage. Leaving them alive is just a really risky proposition. Skyhammer has gone down. Warboss surging forward, but the Boar Boys are dropping like flies to the Dragonback Slayers and the remnants of the Dwarf Warriors. Runelord is still alive, even with Wah getting popped, even with all these abilities going off. I don't think the Greenskins are going to have the DPS required to pull this back in their favor, and with only a handful of Dwarfs left alive, they will take the field and retake Karak Eight Peaks, successfully defending their homeland. Crazy battle. That Purple Sun of Xerius almost turned it in their favor. I will take partial credit for that one because I did recommend to the players that they bring Purple Sun against the Dwarfs, just because if you get really lucky like he was in that instance, you can do a lot of damage to high mass troops with a vortex like that. But it was absolutely gorgeous. Skyhammer Gyrobomber was used exceptionally well by the Dwarfs, and it was honestly just a really fun, really entertaining battle. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed casting it, and I'll see you guys next time.